I don't really have a lead into this. I should have gotten this review out last month, but whatever. Actually, I say that. There's a possibility I might not have this video out until December, in which case, should have gotten it out 2 months ago. Whatever. Wytchwood! This is, I guess it's an adventure game. I played it on stream a little bit. I actually had a fair bit of fun with this. This is, honestly, ultimately, it's a collectathon, is what it is. This is a point and click style. I'll go with style. It's not literally a point and click, mechanically speaking, but this is kind of a point and click style narrative combined with a survival crafty game. Because by and large, what you're going to be doing is you need to get certain items to certain characters, but you're going to go through fractal fetch quests to get them because, oh, this character needs this thing. Well, in order to get that thing, you need to do something for this character. And what they want is this thing that you can make if you go gather 3 of this item and 2 of this item, and then you can make that to give to this person, get to the thing to give to that person to progress the story. And if that sounds boring to you, I mean, maybe walk away. But the thing is, that's the kind of thing that can work if you thread it through a fun world and fun characters. And by and large, I think this does. There is a very fairy tale feel. And like, it's not quite Grimm's fairy tale level of, say, dark, but it is ultimately, I think, a darker than the Disneyfied version of fairy tales kind of fairy tale feel to it. As you play a witch who has to collect souls for what's probably the devil. There's a talking goat in her yard that needs her to collect souls. Now, the souls you're collecting are of horrible people. So, like, that helps. But there's a darkness over the whole thing. And the art style does have this fairy tale picture book quality to it that just has just enough edge to it. And talking with the characters and getting a sense of them is fun. And the ways in which things work and the things that you build in order to get stuff and you trap certain figures, like I made this trap because the game told me to do it. And I set the trap down and the bird was coming to, and I was like, cool, the bird will get caught and I'll like get a feather because I knew I needed a feather for a thing. Instead, the trap snapshot. The bird was just obliterated. It did leave a feather behind, but I was like, oh my God. And initially, like, I felt bad. I'm like, I just killed that bird. But you kind of got to shift, like, that's the world you're in. You are a witch. You are a witch in the classic sense. You need Eye of Newt to make some of your concoctions. And Eye of Newt means you need to set a sharpened stick trap to kill a newt. Even though, yes, I know in reality, Eye of Newt was a certain kind of seed. It wasn't literally an Eye of Newt. But again, fairy tale, go with it. So you do have to be prepared for a certain amount of, not excessive, but playful darkness to the game. And it is mechanically a collecting and crafting game. There's a lot of stuff that you can just collect as you go. You'll just find, oh, here's some twigs you might need later. Here's some mushrooms. There's a squirrel running around. You could make a trap out of a couple of things and get, whatever it is you need from that squirrel. So there's plenty of stuff for you to gather just as you go, just exploring the area. And then there will be things that you can build that will either directly progress the story or enable you to do something else to move you towards being able to progress the story. And I feel like it has a good balance of the amount of stuff that you can just gather as you go. You can decide if you want to approach it as, when I see the opportunity to get something, I will always get it. And then you just have a ton of stuff so that whenever it comes up, like, cool, I've already got the stuff. Or you can approach it in a manner of, okay, when that's asked for, then I'll go and get the stuff. I kind of felt kind of in the middle. Like, I think philosophically, I would rather be gathering the stuff as I go, but ADHD and I would lose patience after a little while, and then and then I'd be like, I'm sure I have enough, and it would turn out I didn't. And then I'm like, oh crap, I got to go back and get more of that. And that's how I ended up playing it. It also falls into two distinct halves, and I think that's good because, like, the end of the first half was the end of the initial batch of things that I was asked to do. So I felt accomplished hitting the halfway mark. And the second half kind of it ups the fractionalization, the fractalization, I guess. In that you while you almost never feel like you don't know what the game needs you to do, the reason I didn't beat it, and like I might still go back to it, but the reason I eventually kind of fell off it was that in the second half, the sense of do this thing to 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 get that thing to move the story forward. Whereas in the first act, it was more like do this thing to do this thing to do this thing to move the story forward. There was that, but like it got doubled in length in the second half. And I just didn't quite have the patience, but I still had a lot of fun out of the half that I played, and I might go back to it. I don't know, no promises, and I can't imagine it's gonna massively change my opinion because while the story and the characters I think are a big draw for it, it's not like it's particularly story driven. Ultimately, you are just fulfilling fetch quests, but getting to interact with these various aspects of this fairy tale world is just fun. It's fun to see how these things play out and the way the characters react to you, a witch wandering around with what looks like an upside down cauldron covering your entire head, and all the other stuff that's going on. It is just kind of a darkly cute, pleasant little game, and I had fun with it. There isn't really much more to say about it than that. It's not particularly deep, but I also picked it up for free, I think through Prime. But I had fun with it. I've definitely stuck with it longer than I have with a lot of the free games I've picked up from things like Prime, because most of those have been things that I've tried once or twice and then gone, oh, okay, let me try something else. Or I've gotten actively annoyed with. I tried to do a point-and-click adventure called Grund with 2 N's. That thing pissed me off. I walked away from that one. That was a rage quit game. But this was something I came back to repeatedly and had fun doing. So for whatever that's worth. Wytchwood, what are your thoughts on it? Have you even heard of it? I don't know. Whatever you think, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills. Allows me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like and share and subscribe. They'll help me as well. I stream this on Twitch. Link to my Twitch channel is down in the description. I stream Wednesdays and Fridays. But don't worry too much about all that stuff. Take a relaxed attitude around here so you can just come on back next time you need a break. And now I'd like to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Goddess Elida, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Oliver B., Melissa Pedersen, Movie Turtle, Ulrich Bogdan, Loki Eris, Melinda Walters, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Renabi Likes the Poodle, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, Quite Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Adam RDL Taylor, Pal Barabajoggle, Mira G, and Sir Didymus is my favorite. They're all calmer this time because they're eating papaya. Whatever works.